One of the stories that I loved is at the beginning of the book. Actually, you had a chance as a young man to meet Mickey Mantle. That was huge for you. There's a great part about 2 new jackets for $7. How did that meeting shape you as a young man, and how was it so pivotal to you?
So 17 years old, Michael Burke's the president of the New York Yankees. He's also a prominent alum of the University of Penn, and a lot of colleges were trying to get me to go and play football for them. And he thought it was going to be his duty as a prominent alum to get the kid from Stamford, Connecticut, who he heard was a Yankee fan, to come down to Yankee Stadium and, recruit him to the University of Penn. As a matter of fact, I don't know if I even put it in the book, but I got a letter from him about a week after I was at Yankee Stadium, and he was telling me, whatever you do, go to college, don't sign professionally. And so did Walter Alston from the Dodgers, who was also from the University of Penn.
Wow.
Go to college, don't sign professionally. As it turned out, I wanted to get drafted by the Yankees. I wasn't. I got drafted by the Dodgers, and Walter O'Malley said, well, I guess I was only kidding. Why don't you sign with us? And I did. but to go down to Yankee Stadium, my God, I was a kid in Stanford. We had one of those rabbit-eared TVs that we watched the Yankee games sometimes on if we got the right reception. And I knew every player on the 63 Yankees. I knew their batting averages and all that stuff, and now here it is, 67. I get to go down and meet Mickey Mantle. Actually, I'm standing behind the cage with the owner, and I'm meeting a lot of players. But the only one I wanted to meet was Mickey Mantle. And I kept waiting for him to come out. And now we know it was a day game, why he was not out for batting practice until right at the end, because he probably had a little headache or a hangover or something like that from the night before. But anyway, when he finally came out, he took batting practice. He was leaving the field. The president tried to get his attention. Finally, we got his attention. He reluctantly came over to take a picture with me, and he put his arm around me, and I had my big grin on my face. And as you mentioned, my uncle Johnny had just negotiated at Canal Street for a brand new sport coat that I got to wear to go down there. He got 2 of them for $7. They wanted 1 for $5. It was a legendary deal that he made in our family's archives. But, as the photograph was ready to be snapped, Mickey leaned over and whispered in my ear, I hope you have to go through this shit someday, kid. And yeah. Okay. And so how did that affect the rest of my life? I had that photo everywhere. It was in my living room. It was my uncle's gas station. I took it on the road with me when I went to play professionally. It was always in my house. And it always reminded me that if a kid wanted to take a photograph with you, or if anyone wanted to take a photograph with you, take the time to make it seem like it's the greatest day in your life, because in fact, that was ready to be the greatest day of my life until he ruined it. And I wanted to make sure that I never ruined it for anyone else.
I love that. I got to know you watching your post-game media sessions, and you're always very open and honest. So when I had a chance to read an advanced copy of your book, I kept thinking, man, I hope it's not fluff. I hope he's open and honest. And I was so relieved reading this book that it's candid, it's open, even bad parts of your life, like that poor day where you didn't return the phone call and you lost all the money on those stocks because you didn't return those phone calls. A lot of people aren't open and honest in a memoir or this kind of thing. Why were you so open and honest? Was it to inspire people? Was it to share your wisdom? Why didn't you hold back? Why were you just open and honest?
Well, Peter was really good at asking the right questions, and he had different segments and parts of my life that he knew would kind of trigger a memory. And just like I'm speaking to you now, I spoke to him over the phone, and he just recorded everything. Um, and just the behind the scenes thing. Peter Golenbach's a little older than I am. He's written a lot of books, and to record this book, he used the same tape recorder that he used to record things in the 70s. And that was the type of tape recorder, where you push the button and it pops up and you put the cassette in and you get to record for 45 minutes and then it stops and you have to take the cassette out and turn it over and put it back in and push record again. Well, 45 minutes into every one of my dialogues, if you will, I would hear Peter say, "Oh, whoa, 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 wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, I got to turn the tape over." So it, it was kind of, it was an amazing experience putting it all down. And I guess I got time to take a deep breath while he was turning the tape over, collect my thoughts. And, it's not that easy. A lot of stuff, over the years, you make the story to be the story that, sounds good. It might not be the exact story the way it happened, but you get to tell it. And if you tell it over enough, it sounds like the true story. For instance, I told people for years, and I believe this is in the book, for years that the first hit I ever got in the major leagues was against Don Gullett. I mean, I did it forever. And then a guy named Brian Baloff, who helped edit the book, who's a big fan and researched a lot of the stuff that I did in my life, was looking at a 1986 program when I said I got my first hit against Don Gullett. And he texted me, or he emailed me at the time, I think, and he said, "Why would you say such a thing?" I said, "Because I got my first hit against him." He said, "No, you got your second hit against Don Gullett. You got your first hit against Will McEnany, I think," is what it was. And it was one of those, whoops, well, I think it sounded better. Don Gullett was a Yankee. All the people at home that I would tell the story to over the years at my bar, probably where I told most of the stories, they knew who Don Gullett was. So I would mention Don Gullett. So that's crazy. But after writing and reading this book, everything I said was as accurate and as true as I could possibly remember. And I even researched some of it just to fact check. And so did Brian, and so did a friend, Andy McAleer, and so did Peter. So I think it's all real stuff.